Recording in process. Hello, everyone. Welcome back
So
to chat. We just have a practice. We just finished a practice. I think has been almost 2 weeks. The
hmm,
last time we did the practice,
yeah,
I think was
exactly 2 weeks, I guess.
yeah when we did invite Flor.
Right.
It feels like 1 month or something. Like I was thinking this morning that it feels really long,
But yeah, I mean, we both had like different projects during that time, so
but
that's
it was really cool. Really cool. Yeah, I really enjoy it because I have been just thinking way too much on this. It's just so boring. I, I mean, but this is really cool because the chat is when we come. The chat is the time with the two of us, and sometimes the guest speaker come to conceptualize and theorize about the practice. I mean, this is me in my presentation. This is me speaking from a script. The chat is the time where the two of us, and sometimes I get guest expert is invited for to theorize and conceptualize the practice. uh this is just this is like a machine, so it
and
feels like just
and this lasts
very
for
cool.
I wrote it like lasts for like half an hour to an hour, but usually it's like around an hour, and we have a
It's
massive
like half an
output.
hour. Yeah, yeah.
I've seen this text like 100 times already. Like I mostly wrote it and I use it everywhere, and you used it everywhere. This text about the chat or about the
Yeah, yeah,
practice as well. So yeah, that flows so natural,
right.
which is kind of interesting. I mean, I didn't like when I started, when we started writing about the practice or about the chat, we didn't expect that it's gonna be like, you know, used again and again. I mean, it's of course we can do it, but when you write something, you never expect that we'll use it for the website, we'll use it for applications, we use it for the
It
magazine.
comes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is just. I mean, tomorrow I have the presentation, and for me, will be like a milestone, and then we just can talk of different things. But it just feels so dense, like because we have been talking of this in the past, like in order to gain visibility. So then basically, just if we are speaking in a way like a weird language that we create through its practices, then just we need to basically translate that for other people who don't speak the language, right? And that's just normal. Otherwise, we'll be the two of us, which was very fun at the beginning, just like the two of us and just do the thing and just uh, like what we did today, then
Yeah, I mean,
uh,
we
yeah.
yeah we still do it, but it's just started to um, I don't know what's a interesting analogy, but I mean we open the gate. We don't go to other city, other town to invite people, but if someone comes, then they're welcome.
No. um but yeah, I think the exercise, because I don't know if you saw, like, also this guy Pavel from the Impulse Dance answer.
Ah,
Do
yeah.
you saw that also? You were in CC?
I think no, what? Which one? Wait, is this a public chat or not?
This is a public one, but yeah, just it was a
Okay.
short remark. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, okay. I'm just seeing right now if you were. Yeah, you were there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And what? And I don't know that, just I'm thinking that for the because they want. Okay, this becomes this is a public chat, so let's not talk of these things. But what I'm trying to say from there is that the presentation, let's say, uh, I'm gonna record it, and I think I will share if I record it. Then, because I think it's an exercise, is interesting as an exercise. I don't think it's super interesting as an artistic something, but I think it's certainly interesting as in practicing how to communicate with
You
people who maybe are not interested,
mean the
or
presentation?
Yeah, just the exercise of the presentation.
I see.
um because different when you talk about the subject with everybody, with people who are very interested and listen what you have to say. um yeah, and I was just mentioning the impulse dance because I think they want us to do some presentation of the work.
Right.
So which of course is not gonna be like what I'm doing tomorrow, something like that. I thanks God forbid something like that. But nevertheless there should be something more queer, like more in still like should present the parts of the work in a way that people can understand in a way what is it, but at the same time with more close to the Q&O
Right.
than, yeah, than exposing, oh, that we have mastered the best practices.
Or what they think about what is their best practice or whatever. I don't know. But it's nice. We have already. I think it's not official, but two opportunities. I think to present.
One is in the, so
Another one in Germany. But I mean that this one, the schedule is not public, but it's
oh, I forgot of
confirmed.
that. Yeah, I forgot of that. Yeah. Yeah,
So we
true.
have some stuff coming up
Yeah.
this summer, which is kind of, yeah, I mean, interesting. Like last year, well, last year we had the node. Like around summer, we
October.
started talking about the node, and
In
that
summer we
happened.
start in summer we start in puff. That's the way how we start. I mean, that was more
Yeah,
like the it's so weird because if I see, for instance, like what I did, like when I check in the history of the practices, is puff that in a way that it marks, like from my point of view, to big changes or like yeah, like milestones or like times where something becomes more concrete. So like the last year in summer, we actually start working in the framework, and then this year we proposed the live stream, the
like
choreography.
in February.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's true.
and we
You
talk a
have,
lot. Also, we did a lot of interesting chats while we were there because you were there also virtually. So
yeah. I mean, somehow I had time, and yeah, we did 1 day format. We did a lot of chat. It's true.
yeah,
And
and
then I
we
think
sometimes we could, sorry, yeah.
also that was the time when we were writing application with Joanna, a bit
Yes,
after.
at the yes, yeah. Yeah, true, true. Hey, I wanted to talk of how was the experience?
What happened? What happened
What
today?
happened? What happened today? How was the experience?
If we do it in like real life, I it will be amazing. At Impulse Dance, we would make a circle actually and ask
Okay.
this
So,
question.
how was the experience of listening to us talking about this weird thing?
That's the most authentic thing to do.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, I mean, for today, uh, where should we start? I don't know. It was, I mean, we haven't done 1 hour for some time, right?
No, in a long time, like could be maybe even not in buff. I think the last, I think I think there was one day that we did not a long format, but still we did 2 hours. I think
True.
could be months, could be half a year.
No, not that long. Because when I did but my birthday was almost half year ago, actually.
Yeah, yeah. There was yeah. So it's, I mean, anyway, it's almost half a year that we have not done the practice, just one
No,
hour practice.
actually, that was March 25th.
Yeah.
We did 1 hour with live streaming.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, anyway, it has been a long time. So
yeah,
we got basically we got used to having the time to yeah, basically develop. I guess, something. Uh, yeah, yeah. Like today, for instance, if I speak from my side, so when there are often things happening and I don't completely understand what is happening, then I go OCD and I just trying to really understand what is happening, and that's when I then that's when you see me really close to the computer, and I'm like just, and then it's just me trying to understand, but how this come. And today, really fast at the beginning, there was something I didn't completely understand. It was some feedback that I didn't understand from where it was coming from. But
Yeah,
then
you
I
said
thought, okay,
something.
okay, it's cool, whatever. And then I just keep it in the one window, and then I start working other things. So I did not. I moved more this time, way more. I was moving a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I really tried to, keep it simple, not to open, different like recorders and my editor and stuff. I just decided, okay, I just stick to Hydra, that the original Hydra, and then, just do something simple. Ended up opening a lot of tabs, but and I had the Windows, old Windows also open. But I think Windows was nice because that really
It's really cool
limits
always.
limits uh, what you can do with it. Like, well, especially because that window is like the server version, so there's like some weird constraints about accessing different like websites. Like some websites are blocked and stuff like that.
Yeah. I
Security.
saw some
So I
errors.
was like, so I couldn't really do anything with the Internet Explorer, and then I opened
But that was cool.
Paint. Yeah,
But that was cool. That was cool because then I was seeing your, and I was using your text editor,
yeah.
because you were having all these errors in this font of Windows, and it was very cool to see. Yeah.
Then I switched to the WordPad and just writing some stuff there. I mean, just hashtags, but and I also used the program that Floor is making. I mean, I also edited a little bit. So yeah, I opened it. It also has the feedback kind of thing. So it was nice. But yeah, with that one and also with the Windows, I did like chroma key. So I put some green colors in it so that you can layer them on top of each other, which is I think is nice. Now I have my windows with green background.
Wait, and what is the? I wanted to talk about this. No, wait. So, what uh is it possible to, how you doing the, how is Floor doing 3D uh in Hydra? Is it a Hydra or is a different framework?
Um, it's with P5.js,
Oh,
so it's like combined with, yeah, it's combined with Hydra. Like basically they all ends up in a web canvas, so you can mix them. Like you can load P5.js canvas inside Hydra or vice versa.
but it's a library. It's a npm library.
Yeah, I mean, it's not it's not really made for npm, but you can use it like that too.
So the way how you're doing it, like you do it locally. So like, or how do you do that?
um, I mean, because it's front end, usually how you do it, the proper way is you have to use some kind of how to say it, like a bundler. What's the right name? Like there's tools like Browserify
Oh
or
yeah,
these things that it runs like the script and you know
it bundle everything together
fixes,
into one
yeah,
file.
fixes the dependencies from Hydra or different libraries and then put them together in one file. So you can just load that file into your web page and it runs. But I think how she's doing is just you can also use CDN. So you just like include these scripts from CDN, like where it's hosted, and you just load Hydra as a script, and you load P5.js as a script. So it's not bundled, but it's still like they're all like exposed to the
We'll use the
global.
libraries, like it will use the dependencies.
Yeah, it just becomes like a variable. So Hydra becomes just Hydra, like a global
Yeah,
variable. So it's not really recommended way to do it, but it works, and
yeah,
it's easy because you don't have to compile, and compiling this or not compile, but bundling JavaScript is always uh, somewhat like a bit of a work. It's not really straightforward. Everyone has
yeah,
different recipe.
of course.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, but I have like more. I wanted to talk about like because I have seen sometimes what things that she's doing, and then I wanted to talk about like these 3D images in that space, uh, because it feels like since so let's say it's not Blender or is not a software dedicated for 3D rendering images.
right.
So the quality of the image, of course, will be different. And what I found that is there is something that I'm missing from that is I don't know what is it, but it's not that I want to see the high-end image, but there is something missing. I don't know what is it, but there is something missing in trying to simulate the 3D in a two-dimensional space.
Yeah, I should I do like screen share and try to
Mhm.
find something interesting, or I can do OBS as always. Um, Window capture. Sick.
Because maybe for people who are not very familiar with 3D softwares, like dedicates like Blender or I don't know Houdini or other ones, is that in those softwares the is the makes a 3D model which is very complex. And what Naoto will share in a little time is in a ways is to simulate the 3D space in a two-dimensional space through, I guess, using a lot of the perspective.
Yeah, so there are like different ways to do it. For example, I mean, okay, A-frame is not the first thing I would show. So P5J is the one that she was using. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like, it's for, let's say, education. Like it's easy to use.
Is the
Um,
processing on the web in a way.
yeah, that's the idea. And where can I find it? Reference or it's examples maybe? And because on web you can do WebGL like 3D stuff, so there are like examples that you can do these. You can draw these shapes in a fairly simple code like this.
Yeah, without creating like a complex mesh in a three-dimensional space.
Yeah, but that's of course that comes at the cost that it's not really flexible. You can what raycasting? Oh, okay, raycasting. I see what it is.
Like ray tracing in a way.
No. It's just
No.
finding where the mouse position is, like where it hits on the 3D object, like whatever. Um, you can do like shader stuff, but it's very simple. I think this one is drawn in shader, so it's like the very simple version of ray tracing, ray
Hmm.
margin. So these things you can do, but it's really simple. And I have to say it's not so optimized. So you can do some more elaborate stuff, but it might not perform well. And of course, if you go to like Shader Toy or okay, then like I wanted to show this one A-frame because this is quite nice. Um, I mean, it's similar, but it has a bit better shading, I would say. And oh, the source. I mean, the nice thing, I cannot really see it here, but the syntax is it's like HTML. So you write a box, just like having like image or p tag. I can show you the code. They host it on Glitch, so it's really slow. Which I mean I wouldn't say it's slow, but it takes time. So that's why I hate it. But I mean the code is like it's like P5.js, not similar in manner, but it's simple enough that you don't have to initialize the buffer, initialize this and that to make this image. View source.
Yeah.
This is just like I just want to go straight to the source, and this takes like forever to load it. I
Yeah,
hate
but
it.
maybe what I wanted to talk is that because in the first part when I was researching in the first semester about 3D images and how so at some point I end up trying to so it works very well. Let's say I was using Notch for that, which is a software also that you can use for 3D images, complex 3D images. And it works very well, of course, if you are just in the 3D space and that's your purpose. But at the point when I was trying to, let's say, put my camera, so my image in the 3D space and try to do things with it, although, so it in a way, I think it conflicts or it bothers me that the there is the dimensionality that yeah, to put in the flat image of my webcam in a
Yeah.
3D space, it just feels it's not the same dimension. So
Uh,
uh, when we glitch in a two-dimensional space, saying Hydra, then everything. So it doesn't matter how many more layers or images we are putting in the canvas, because although they are glitching in a way, they're coming from the same in the same dimension. So when there's glitch or things that, yeah, for instance, like this is a high definition 3D space, right?
yeah. So this is what it's called, 3JS, which is way more uh,
Yeah,
realistic. But it's the same thing. It just runs on the browser and it does what is it like? Yeah, like just shading, and you have like different geometries that makes it a bit more realistic, but it's the same engine that it's using on the browser. And it again, it's the same. Like if you have videos, images of ourselves in there, it's not really. It doesn't really fit well.
yeah. I think like what I found that is kind of like, maybe it's not a limitation, but because it might be from other point of view, the possibility to explore the medium is that once we like trying to blend the 3D images and the 2D images, I think that either one has to, in a way, respect a lot more the canvas, because otherwise it gets saturated and it gets very messy very fast. So you don't really, it's not that you have to understand, because when we're glitching, we don't really understand what is happening, everything, but it's just the composition itself becomes very messy. And also because I mean there is all this like romanticism with the image, for instance, that when the 3D image is well done, so you can appreciate very well this image, right? And when you start putting more things on top, very fast you lose the good quality of the object itself. So it's very, I think it's a very very interesting topic to research, but I think it's very complicated because you have to, it's not, yeah, because actually it's not a two-dimensional space and it's not a three-dimensional space. It's something in between. And I think, yes, maybe that's what I'm trying to say. I think that's the conflict, that when you try to do something in the 3D space and you do things in the 3D space, then it works. But when or in the two-dimensional space, but when you put the two together, the dimension conflict the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't know what you think about this.
Yeah, I totally understand. I mean, that's, I would say we never really tried in the practice, I think, but I think that's something I'm really interested. For example, oh, well, this one's really, I
I
mean,
mean, the
okay,
way
can
how
you, yeah, yeah, go ahead.
sorry, like yeah, the way how I see it is like in a way I think if we want to try to do, or when somebody try to do this kind of experiments where 2D and 3D is mixed, in a way it has to be a conscious understanding that what is going to be proposed is something that is not 2D and 3D but is something else, and that has to be in a way conceptualized and understood, uh, a part of the technical limitation and all these things that just on the spot you have to find. So in a way, it's the under, or like I will say, like it's the proposition of a new dimension, basically.
Yeah, so this one is I made for the seminar. It's in Mozilla Hubs, so you can, anyone can join, like social VR, and these 3D models are scanned from the real life with the photogrammetry. And at one point, I was using it like in Hydra, like just as a screen share, so I can put myself in the space in a way. And it doesn't really solve the problem, but at least these images are captured with photos.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I
So
see what you mean. Yeah.
it
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
has
Yeah.
somewhat similar quality, although it's still, you can see it as a 3D rendering, but it's yeah, like just a bit closer to the real, like a texture of the image. Or I think you can also uh, digitize yourself with the Kinect, for example, and then if you add things on top of your image, then maybe it blends better. But the thing is, if you start to go into that direction, it's hard to do it in real time, right? I mean, you can do it in real time, but changing these effects in real time, I guess you can still like adjust some parameters to make how much you add the glitch, or you change the color or something, but it cannot really um, change the whole composition with, like, while we are practicing.
Yeah. 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 True. Yeah. Yeah. There is something there, like yeah, the manipulation of the two space and the three space, like there is something there. Yeah, there is something there that is. I think my thinking is just conceptually thinking that it has to be understood before going to the technology itself as something that is not 2D or 3D. I think in a way, I mean, that's my easier way, I guess, to think about it. Um, but then again, it's like it's difficult to imagine a new dimension when, yeah, it's difficult to imagine something that you cannot perceive through your senses. You know, if you understand that it's 2D and you know what is 2D, you know what is 3D. Um, so it's difficult to imagine a new dimension because you don't have. I mean, it's, yeah, it basically is close to the idea of the post-human. Like basically, you have just to not use resources of your cognitive process, but it's more almost like a dream land.
Mm. Sure, and it has to be like not convincing, but it has to, you have to have something. Like you cannot just try something, and I mean you can try something, but if it's, if you're trying something, then it's obviously you're trying something with 2D and 3D. So you have to have some kind of, not
Maybe, maybe,
narrative,
maybe,
but
maybe it could be also in the in terms of composition in hierarchy, or one can even speak about choreography in that sense. That in a way, the problem with using 3D objects is like that in a way, once you propose the 3D object, you want to perceive the object as such. So you don't want the object to be too much corrupted, or at least you want to understand as viewer.
Mm,
You need to understand there is the object. Then going back to the idea of the choreography, I think maybe it's more in terms of timing. If you want to use a process where the 3D object get glitch, I think there should be the time enough for the viewer to understand that that object actually, the glitch object, it comes from a clear form that you can understand in a way.
mm, okay. I'll just show you like before answering to that. So this is something I did last week. Well, yeah. Yeah, I was in the real like physical space where this tunnel is, and I used the scanned model that I just showed you, which is like in the background with the Luma key, but you don't really notice that it's 3D or something else. I mean, it didn't really move it much, so it's.
But so a question is that like a scan to a 3D scanning?
Hmm?
Is that a scan through
So
an
in the foreground, I mean, this what's surrounding, and myself is the camera,
Mhm.
but the background, in the middle, where now it's shaking a little bit, is the 3D model
Mm.
of
Okay, that's
this
very
like
interesting.
of the same space. So I tried to the tunnel is like, oh, how do I say it? I extended the tunnel in a way with the 3D model, and
But
it
in
kind
that
of
sense,
worked.
I think it works because in a way, something like that works because in that case, in a way, the 3D space works as a canvas, sort of, as a kind of base ground from where other 2D image can come. So then what there is not a conflict. And it fits, yeah, it feels, yeah, it is not conflicting. Then the conflict is when that base ground start moving or start doing weird stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, when the 3D space, let's say that background start maybe to do certain motions, it will start very fast corrupting the whole image. Um, which again, going back to the idea of choreography, I think maybe that could be a cue for Floris if she's seeing from what I think more could be in terms of rhythm, because for instance, that background can move maybe, but the speed of the motion, it needs to have a different rhythm because it's a base ground. So you cannot start just shaking so fast as the 2D image.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this you mean like also like what you said before is about like this kind of discrepancy between the 2D and 3D, right? It's um, because
Yeah.
you want to perceive as something. Yeah, now actually I'm moving a little bit in the background, you see. Um, but yeah, if
But you
yeah.
see, but you see that works like what is, I think it's in terms of like the choreographic or composition, like the rhythm, uh, I think will dictates a lot more than the 3D object itself. I think is just the simplicity of the 3D and then playing with the rhythm. I think as a beginning to start exploring the field. But going from the beginning with a lot of motion and things makes the thing very dense, I think.
Mm. Yeah, I think in my case I was trying to like do like not glitch the 3D model too much because it's already somewhat glitchy. It's not real, if you look close to it. So what I was trying was to make the camera image, the 2D part that's surrounding or the body of myself, a little bit of, like changing the color like now, so that it doesn't necessarily blend, but they both have some kind of this glitch in the image to make them more connected in a way. I don't know
Yeah.
if I really succeeded in that, but yeah, like if we just treat it as image as 3D model, then as you said, it's not going to blend, and yeah. But I don't know where I want to do. Actually, I was thinking about you doing this today, but I think I didn't do it, except what Floor was doing in the web page. So that can be something. Also, like I wanted to do some recording of myself, which I didn't do. But at one point, I want to like film myself without, not with a desktop, but with a camera that's not connected to the computer, and just film myself moving, because that could be an interesting material. For example, if
That you
you do something with 3D, then maybe working with my whole body would be easier than working with the windows in the desktop. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, because for instance, like the windows actually, if you really think about it, I think the windows, the floating windows, in a way are a 3D object, if you know what I mean. Like
True.
those windows, they end up being an object. The ones you put them inside of the composition of the screen, they demand a lot of attention. Uh, yeah, I think that's a good analogy. Like the windows in a way are a simulation of a 3D object. They have shadows. They have these kind of things. They try to simulate the object as something there is more than just being flat.
Well, but I think the current trend in the design is to make it flat,
That's true.
which is kind of funny. I mean, it's sometimes still really is confusing to me. I don't know which is actually in the foreground and which is in the background. Um, but actually, like we once did with hubs, we totally failed at Node, but it was in hubs, and
What we did.
we put ourselves in the greenhouse.
I we put the when we perform in Node, then we share the screens.
Yeah, but that was because the one I shared right now is different because it's hubs inside Hydra in a way with a screen share, like
Yeah.
screen capture. But what we did at Node was Hydra inside the hubs so that it's shared inside hubs as a flat screen. But
Yeah.
what I shared is the other way around, which we didn't try, I think, in our practice.
No. Yeah, I see what I mean. Yeah. Yeah. So I think going back to this idea, I think it works in a let's say in our performance. Basically, just we use that ground to share our screens, and then we didn't move there. No, just you put it there, and then the screen is staying there. So again, the canvas of the or the 3D space is the base ground, and in a way, let's say it work in the sense that because there is not there the base ground was not moving of whatever. It's just very flat. There is nothing more than just holding the two screens, and inside of the two screens, the things were happening. Um, yeah, but then to bring in the 3D space, so that was bringing the 2D space into the 3D space. But as you said, doing the other way around, so bringing the 3D space in a two-dimensional space. Um, yeah, it seems.
Well, I don't know if it's better or worse, but something to try at least.
I think it's more. I think it's more. I would say that it's focused because you can focus. In a three-dimensional space, basically, once you're there, you can, as a viewer, you can watch everywhere, right? You can go and check everywhere around. But in the two D space, you have just one screen, so it's focused.
Yeah, it's true. You don't have to think about the perspective or where you are in a
Exactly.
way. I mean,
Yeah, because already there's a
it's
lot of information. Yeah.
yeah, but it's funny, right? Because even if it's a photo, it's happening in 3D space, and someone's taking that photo. Um, but you never, well, you some people think about where the photographer is standing, but sometimes you don't really think about it. I'm just sharing my screen of the practice, which I think we never did something like this in the practice. Like right after the practice, not the chat. Right after the practice in the chat, we share the what happened just like 1 hour ago. But I think it's nice, so I try it. So this was like at one point I was showing the windows and I put myself on top of it. And I think this is kind of it's not 3D, but it's nice example because I really didn't like it at the end because it's, it's just so, it feels so wrong, that I'm putting myself, it's like when you're shooting like a tutorial or something on like YouTube, tutorial thingy or coding or something.
Well, I think there is something in that idea of that might be interesting with people like Flor who are researching this for a while. Like the windows, actually, those windows are a 3D object in a way. They're trying to simulate a 3D object more than, yeah, a video. Yeah, you can see it just for the ugly design of Windows 7. I don't know which Windows is this. Um, so
Yeah, I think
it's an object, it's a 3D object. Yeah.
yeah. But then even if it's the windows are sort of flat 3D, if you put yourself with a chroma key on top of it, it's I don't know if I like it, like in this example
No,
at least.
but I think it's kind of what I think it works in. Let's say that this is very simple because then you don't have, let's say, reflection with lights of all these kind of complex things that a 3D object will do. But then you can focus. I think that's interesting because let's say the lights and all these things are happening actually with you. So with the camera, so with you and all the shadows and all the lights. So all these things are happening there. And there are no complex lightings or other things happening in the 3D object. So in a way, it's not so disturbing. It's not disturbing. I mean, this is super simple, but yeah, I think that the simplicity in the 3D background is essential. I think it
Mm.
must
I
come at
mean,
the beginning. I think from
from both ends, right? Like the 3D thing should be simple enough, and 2D part should be somewhat having this not photorealistic, but something comes towards this glitch idea, so that they kind of merge, meet
yeah.
at some point. I mean, that's what I think, but
Yeah, I think
but
in a way, what I feel is that one, I mean, in trying to experiment in these dimensions, one needs to be more responsible or more conscious actually of the elements, like basically of, yeah, to not throw all the distortion right in, at once because it's way too much.
and this is like the in the same week we made some posters in the physical space, and this one, mine, is in the bottom left, and it's just a screen capture of a window. And I started really like to, well, I only tried this time once, but what about if we print web pages and just stick it somewhere, so that it's nice because people understand that it's a browser. It's not like a design thing. It's just a browser that's there. Um, but what is it? I thought about it because in the video, in the practice we did, I was just sharing the screen. But what if it was actually like looks like printed and taken as a photograph? Or we can do some like actually print it and just stick it there, and as a
Yeah,
like photo or screen capture of the practice, and
yeah,
then we dance in front of it. Then it's
yeah.
it's it's not a move,
Yeah.
but it's playing
No,
with
no.
the.
I think it's like, I think that goes in the direction of like the medium. This the medium is the message that we talked like 2 weeks ago with Flor. That because basically then it just is experimenting and expanding more the medium. So normally you won't. Normally the poster will not be such a thing. It will be something different. So the experiment with the medium itself is, yeah, just like the medium. This idea of the medium is the message is what it resonates in my head. So
I
give more
see.
possibilities to the medium to be that only what it's supposed to do,
Okay. I mean,
which is very much what the visual artists do. Very much is, or what you learn in visual art is they're very well training to explore materials, right? Like visual plastic arts, to explore the materials and then to experiment different times. So it makes me think of that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
then through the medium, yeah.
yeah. Well, I think what becomes interesting is we can play both with the medium and the content because, well, in a way, medium becomes content if I print as a poster and stick
Mhm.
it of a screenshot of a Chrome, but still, have something in the Chrome window that can be practice or can be hashtag or whatever web page we make. Then I think and then if we, for example, use it in practice, or not, then things become more interesting because, in a way, by moving through different medium, we make a new practice, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I don't know. Yeah, you're not part of Instagram world anymore, but I don't know if you saw like Flor did at some point like this last week, and I think she did some kind of like almost a stock motion of Hydra. So then she started drawing. Have you seen it?
Yeah, she sent me.
That was very cool because that's going in the same idea, right? uh, it's very cool because it goes around the same idea. Like the drawings are not amazing, but and that's the cool because there is not the point of trying to simulate what the computer can do perfectly, right? There's just no point in that.
Right. Hmm. That's something. I mean, I don't exactly know, but that kind of makes me think of, like, when we think about documentation and how to archive stuff, we try to make it somewhat complicated because we have really rich um, data or history, but maybe it's just about, for example, just printing out the screenshot of practice, and just have pile of it, just put it somewhere or use it in the practice, like I just said, that is already creating, like, exploring with an archive. Or we can just make a bunch of websites that just shows the screenshot of the practice. Also, I saw, like, Olivia Jack, she shared with me sometime that it's a web page, but it shows like a Chrome window kind of thing, and it started to glitch. But I think it's along the idea of working with the mouse cursor and stuff that
Yeah,
become part of the content. The browser becomes the content.
yeah, yeah. This is very interesting. The topic. Maybe we can go back. That the idea of like, yeah, basically exploring more the Explorer, the Chrome, the browser as, yeah,
Yeah,
more than just something that it holds a website, right?
yeah. And after all this thing, we just like dancing without any, almost no effects. It's so funny.
But it was cool because
Uh,
then I understood, okay, let's dance. And also I felt, so I put some music and then I felt that, okay, you're putting a different music. So then I listened and I just put down my music and then I started dancing with you.
I see.
Yeah, I was being very nice today.
Yeah,
I
I
was
felt
being
it.
very nice today. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we should close this here.
Yeah,
And yeah, let's keep in touch. So maybe just let's close
the
the chat
chat.
and we go to
Yeah.
backstage.
So thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
I forgot what to say. Please like the video. I mean, I some people like it, which I
Yes,
really appreciate. And yeah, and some people subscribe to the channel, so it's growing like really like gradually.
amazing.
So, but maybe at one point I should do the tutorial series again to kind of boost the exposure. Anyways,
Tutorial series on 3D space and 3D space. Well, let's make a conference of 2D and 3D, the new dimension.
yeah, I mean that's totally interesting, right? I mean,
Like, yeah,
okay, I mean,
what Flor is doing, I think is very interesting. I think like in terms of aesthetics, like I would say like I might not like or like some things, but I think the research that she's going through in that is very interesting because I think it's a very complicated topic for what Oli said here. So Flor, if you're watching, super cool what you're doing. Very beautiful drawing. Drawings. Okay.
yeah.
Ciao
So thanks
guys.
so much. Ciao.